Pam Bondi's worst nightmare came true the moment Alex Padilla leaned forward with that calm, unblinking stare, because everyone in the room could feel it before he even opened his mouth. Something was about to happen. Something uncomfortable. Something she couldn't spin, redirect, or brush off with a polite smile. And when Padilla finally spoke, it wasn't with hostility or theatrics. It was with that razor-sharp precision that only someone holding a devastating line of questioning uses.
Central general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. Now, I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate
think
that,
all
but
of
my
our,
clock is
I'll
ticking,
answer
and I
your
want to
question.
hear
All
your
of our
answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence, yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence, yes
I traveled,
or no?
Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or
no?
no?
I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about...
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because
Mr.
I
Chair,
was there.
I'm going to move on because she's clearly not answering my questions. And I want to know,
observe.
colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as the chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative, Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Let me move on to a different topic.
Senator, you were speaking. May I speak? You cut me off when I was speaking.
When I ask you the next question, you can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi.
Well, I'd
now,
like
when
to
we met
answer
yesterday,
the previous one, Senator.
When we met yesterday,
you pointed your finger at me and
you
said
did not
you were
seem
speaking.
to be familiar
let me answer
with
my question.
the
I'm not going to be bullied by you,
the
Senator
14th
Padilla.
Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you
And I'm
didn't want to
hoping
hear
you're more
my
familiar
answer
with it
about
today
Pennsylvania.
after I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed as Attorney General...
You're the one asking for a confirmation
hey,
vote,
you
ma'am.
cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for
Okay.
today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding
Ma'am,
birthright
you're asking us to
citizenship. Can I
continue
answer
to
the
serve as the
question?
Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. One other immigration-related question, I'll steer clear of the
I have
Constitution
one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like to
Senator
talk about.
Hirona asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that you said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no.
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or
Senator,
no?
my great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it,
They
yes or
came
no?
here from Sicily
Do you agree
through
with it,
Ellis
yes or
Island
no?
when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no? It's
My
real simple.
great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I can't wait for the second round.
Same, Senator. Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
It was the political equivalent of pulling the pin from a grenade and placing it gently on the table between them. Pam Bondi didn't flinch at first. She smiled. She nodded. She tried her best to look unshaken. But behind her eyes, you could see a flicker, a brief, undeniable moment where she realized exactly what was coming next. Padilla wasn't there to congratulate her. He wasn't there to pat her on the back for years of service. He came with receipts, with records, with contradictions she couldn't outrun, and he was ready to carve through every polished talking point she tried to hide behind. This wasn't a hearing anymore. It was a cross-examination, a political trial in real time, and it started with a question that would define the entire encounter. Do you have any evidence of election fraud? Yes or no? From that single moment, the tone was set. Bondi tried everything, stalling, softening, thanking him, expressing sympathy for fires in California, even shifting into long explanations about her travel schedule, all in an effort to dodge the one question she absolutely did not want to answer. She repeated the same phrase, almost like a shield. I traveled to Pennsylvania. But Padilla was relentless. He didn't care about where she traveled. He didn't care about the scenery, the crowds, or the press conferences. He cared about evidence. Hard evidence. The kind that never surfaced. And every time she tried to pivot, he cut through her words like a surgeon. Yes or no? Evidence. Do you have it? With each repetition, you could feel the air thicken. Her smile tightened. Her posture grew rigid. The room shifted from polite observation to collective discomfort. This wasn't just avoidance. It was the unraveling of her entire narrative. Because Bondi wasn't just someone making commentary. She was standing there as a nominee for the highest law enforcement position in the country. And the most basic demand, proof, was something she refused to provide. Her silence wasn't just telling. It was damning. Padilla took that opening and widened it with the kind of precision that had the entire room leaning in. He reminded her that the attorney who stood beside Rudy Giuliani during that infamous Pennsylvania press conference, the one loudly claiming massive fraud without a shred of evidence, has since been disbarred in multiple jurisdictions for spreading those same false claims. He reminded her that dozens of courts, including some led by judges appointed by her own party, dismissed every challenge brought forward. He reminded her that despite years of accusations, investigations, and media tours, there was no documented, confirmed proof of widespread fraud. Not then, not now, not ever. This wasn't political rhetoric, it was the legal record. And Bondi knew it. You could see it in her eyes as Padilla recited those facts. It was no longer about defending her past statements. It was about defending whether she even had the credibility to sit in the chair she was fighting for. Padilla's voice stayed even, controlled, almost emotionless. But the message landed like a punch. As Attorney General, you must rely on facts, not conspiracy theories. That line cut through whatever composure she had left. Her head tilted, her lips pressed. She swallowed hard. This wasn't the terrain she prepared for, and Padilla wasn't letting her escape. But then the exchange took a turn even sharper than the first confrontation. Padilla shifted suddenly, like someone turning the page into a new chapter of an interrogation plan he'd been rehearsing. He asked her, not about fraud, not about Pennsylvania, but about the 14th Amendment. A simple question, a foundational question, the kind of thing any attorney, prosecutor, or constitutional officer should be able to answer in their sleep. And Bondi missed the step completely. When Padilla asked her to explain the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment, she didn't answer. She didn't outline the text. She didn't summarize the principle. She didn't even attempt a partial explanation. Instead, she fired back with a line that instantly went viral. "Senator, I'm not here to do your homework." It was meant to be dismissive, maybe even clever, a way to shake him off. But it backfired. Hard. Instead of sounding sharp, she sounded unprepared. Instead of commanding authority, she sounded defensive. Padilla didn't let her move on. He repeated the question, pressed again, and again, and again, and every time she tried to slide into her resume, "I was a state prosecutor, I was a state AG, I prepared for today," he brought her right back to the point. "What does the 14th Amendment say?" Her answer never came. Not once. And the silence spoke louder than anything she could have said. This wasn't about homework. It was about competence. And Padilla made sure the audience understood that. "You want to serve as Attorney General," he said, "and you still need to study the 14th Amendment?" That sentence echoed like a verdict. Bondi leaned back slightly, blinked, and tried to hold her composure. But the damage was done. The hearing had shifted from tense to catastrophic, and then came the moment that would set off headlines worldwide. The question that tested her moral ground instead of her legal knowledge. Padilla asked her if she agreed with the statement that immigrants were poisoning the blood of the country. It was explosive, loaded, intentionally provocative. But it wasn't random. It was tied directly to rhetoric that had been circulating within her political circles. Bondi immediately tried to sidestep. "I didn't say that." Padilla pressed harder. "Yes or no, do you agree with it?" She repeated her denial. He repeated his question. She pivoted to her family. Her great-grandparents from Sicily. Ellis Island. Immigration stories passed down through generations. It was emotional, personal, but it wasn't the answer he was asking for. He cut through it again. Yes or no? And finally, after what felt like an eternity of circling, she answered, "No, Senator." It should have been simple, but the struggle to get there made it look like she was torn not by principle, but by politics. By trying to satisfy two worlds that could not coexist. And the audience felt that tension immediately. Padilla closed his round with quiet venom. "I can't wait for the second round." His voice held a tone that wasn't anger, wasn't sarcasm, but something sharper, a promise, a warning. And Bondi responded with, "Same, Senator." But the tone betrayed her. It wasn't confidence. It wasn't strength. It was a defensive spark from someone who had just endured a public dismantling. The room sensed it. The cameras captured it. The viewers watching at home replayed it. This wasn't simply a clash of political philosophies. It was a test of judgment, competence, and truth. And Bondi struggled in every category Padilla put in front of her. The deeper question emerging from this confrontation wasn't just about Bondi's performance. It was about what it revealed. It exposed the widening fracture within her own party, between those still holding onto past narratives and those forced to confront the legal realities in front of them. It exposed the tension between loyalty and accountability, between rhetoric and responsibility. It exposed how dangerously thin the line becomes when someone tries to appeal to multiple factions at once, one demanding allegiance, the other demanding evidence. Bondi walked into that hearing hoping to project independence, hoping to show she could separate her past alliances from the role she was seeking now. But what the public saw instead was someone caught in between, unable to fully commit to truth without betraying loyalty, unable to fully commit to loyalty without betraying truth. And that's why this moment matters. Not because of political drama, not because of sound bites, but because it forces the question. If a nominee cannot answer simple, foundational questions under pressure, how will they handle the weight of an entire justice system? Bondi may recover in future hearings. She may refine her answers. She may return with a better strategy. But the impact of this encounter will linger. It will replay in commentary, analysis, news cycles, and voter conversations. Because once a senator exposes the cracks in a nominee's foundation, people remember. And those cracks don't disappear just because the hearing ends. That if you made it this far, drop your thoughts below. Was Bondi unprepared, cornered, or just overwhelmed by a senator who refused to let anything slide? And if you want more breakdowns of the biggest political clashes happening right now, make sure you hit subscribe, smash like, and stay tuned. The next video is even more explosive.